side, my first question or my ask was for your input on how we can deal with the day-to-day mental toughness. In other words, we're doing approximately 100 Ks a day, which is nothing compared to what I know you ran and that sort of thing, but it's the daily getting up and doing the same thing over each day. So your insights on that would be great. And then the others, I'm sure, will have their own questions. So yeah, over to you.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little around that answer and just give you an idea of how it sort of it built up for me. So as you all know, with these events, you know where you're going to start, you know where you're going to finish, but and I mentioned briefly into that little message I sent you is what happens in the middle you have no control of, and you don't know either yourself as an individual how your body rhythms are going to go and how you're going to peak and trough and all of that. So what I've done on these events, and I learned very quickly from the first event, the first time that I did the Great Wall, we planned every day. We said, we're going to run exactly 42 Ks, and then we're going to stop, and then we're going to have a rest day here, and then we're going to sleep there. It was probably the worst thing that we did, because you've forced yourself into a routine that didn't come naturally. So what I found subsequent to that on these events is I never look at the end anymore. I look at my week, and I look from say Monday, I look to Wednesday. Wednesday is my peak. If I can get to Wednesday with ease, then it's downhill to the weekend again, back to Monday. So I build that little peak in my week. I then take that week and I turn it into, I've just got to get to the 15th of this month. And then I'm going down to the end of the month. So then that's my next peak. And then I build the entire journey. Okay, I'm going to get to 2,000 Ks, and then it's downhill for the next 2,000 Ks to the end. So those are my little rewards that build as the event goes. But I actually look at each day, and my day consists of, I get up in the morning, I'll have a cup of coffee. I've just got to get to 10 o'clock to my first break. And I always do my biggest push in the morning. I'll do the recent run of China, we average 61 Ks a day. So I would try and do 30 Ks by 10 o'clock. Then I know I've got halfway through my day. Then my next break would be, I'll do another, say 15 to 20 Ks. Then I know I've broken the back of the day. And then it's just that cruise downhill to the end of the day. So, and by doing that, it every day you build strength and you build these rewards in. I always found on these events, the hardest is always day 3. When you start, that first day 3 is terrible. And day 4, you lump, but you're getting over it. And what I also found from a mental strength perspective and physically is I never took a rest day. I used to always take a rest day once a week. And to recover from a rest day was huge. It would take me 2-3 days to recover from sitting idle for that day. So what we did was your rest day becomes a short day, but you still do it. And it also becomes a mental reward, because instead of doing no Ks on rest day, I did 30. So I'm still 30 Ks further down. But I found my body rhythm, and Andrew, who runs with me now as well, he also found that a rest day actually isn't necessary and it's more detrimental. So we found rather do a shorter day. And the other thing is, okay, week 2, you're a bigger team, so your team dynamics and rhythms are going to be different. So you're all going to be feeling not great someday, great someday. And with Andy and I, our biggest worry was we would both have a bummer day on the same day, because we always pulled each other through that bad day. But in Cuba, we had that one day that we both blew on the same day, and it was horrific. We just couldn't lift each other up. We were actually pulling each other down with that. But you will always have one strong person in the team that that gets the others going in that. And what we do is, I'm the slower runner, and Andy's a lot quicker than me. So I always run ahead. So instead of the slowest person always having to catch up, and by the time you catch up, the front people have rested and they want to go again, you must work it in reverse, and you must get used to the slower pace and come to terms with it, because otherwise it causes conflict. You're always fighting with a slower person. But if you just all accept, guys, we're going to go at I think it was Eric's name, the oldest. He might not be the weakest, but I'm just using as an example, is let the slowest person lead the team in the front, and you'll find you'll get much less conflict. And it's not the verbal conflict that is the worst, it's the internalized conflict, and then you blow someday. So it also helps the mental thing as well, is verbalize, but in a tactful way, because you'll find from a mental perspective, it's good to understand the how each person reacts. So I'm analytical, explosive, and Andy might be explosive, analytical. He goes off quickly. But if I know that in advance, I can deal with it, because I know, okay, he's going to blow now. He's going to freak out, but he's going to analyze it afterwards, and he'll come in and apologize. So if you know how the people's mindsets work in advance, you will just stand back. Okay, let him vent. He'll relax afterwards. Or if you see another team member, this guy's brewing and saying less and less, there's going to come a little nuke on the side here that we need to be aware of. So it's also good just to sit and if you're a big team, analyze that with it. And you've got a support crew as well.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Six support,
so, yeah. Because I also learned a big lesson from two journeys where the support crew was too big and too idle. And idle minds, other stuff brews. So the support crew need to be kept busy as well. They need to, and if you even get members of the support crew to actually start cycling with you, let them also do something, because it also disengages from the boredom. Because the support crew get damn bored. Really, boredom is the biggest mental destroyer of your support team. So if you just look at that
I've got a plan for those guys that are getting bored.
Okay,
CBD, coffee, and mushrooms.
Okay. Yeah, give them a bit of lachtvak and get them off. Yeah. So from a mental perspective, those are just little snippets that I've found to keep everyone sort of with that. But to get up and keep yourself going every day is up to the individual. And I always say that when you get up in the morning and you put on those shoes, no one's going to get up and put them on for you and run for you or cycle for you. It's when you put on those shoes and you stand up, it's your commitment to the people around you that I will get through today. And on the last run, we had a horrific situation where Andrew got such bad tendonitis, he ended up in hospital. And he came out of hospital in a moon boot. And he met me at the tent. And I just sat there in utter shock. All these months of preparation, there's years of planning, the sponsors, everything. And here's Andy coming out on crutches in a moon boot. And I thought, I didn't know what to say at first. And I could see Andy was distraught. And so I said, look here, what did the doctor say? He says, look here, it's going to be 6 weeks before he can run again. So I thought, okay, let's just get through supper. We had a couple of beers and I let Andy just go to bed. And then the next morning we sat there and I said, okay, Andy, this is my suggestion. Let's just sit for 3 days, just chill. You relax, you rest, and just think it through, and we'll see what what we can do. On day 2, I saw Andy had taken his moon boot off. I never said anything. And I saw him, he was walking and he was feeling it out. So then he said to me, he said, David, I'm going to go for a walk tonight. I just want to test my leg. And he then came back and he said, look, I think maybe we can try this. I said, okay, here's the deal. Even if I walk 500 meters with you tomorrow, let's just move 500 meters and we move the tent. We made progress. So it ended up like we'd moved the campsite 5 kilometers. That's all we did. But it was progress. We moved forward and it helped him mentally heal, and physically he was feeling a bit better. And then the next day we went a little bit further. And what happened then, Andy, and he sat down and he said, the mind shift came was, he says, this journey is not about me. It's about the promise we've made to the people that believe in us, and I'm not going to let them down. And that was such a strengthening moment that came out of that. And I'd had a similar experience on one of my journeys when I fell 10 meters down a rock crevice and really damaged myself badly. And I also set up a couple of days, and my comment to the crew was, I've made a promise to a group of children that I will, through this journey, give them the surgery they need to change their lives. I can't let them down. And it's moments like that get you as an individual through this. It's that self-belief, that self-commitment can only take you so far. But often, if you extract yourself out of the equation, you say, you know what? There's a reason why I'm doing this. And there was a classic little intervention that happened to me. I was running in India and I actually tore my bladder and I ended up in theater. And I came out of theater and a day later, I was back on the road, slowly walking and trying to get going again. And 3-4 days later, my bladder ruptured again. And I sat there, I was 2,000 Ks into the journey. I thought, oh, you know, I can't do any, I can't carry on. Well, what do I do? It was weird. There was this Hindi priest that I met in this village that I was sitting there feeling sorry for myself. I mean, urinating blood and just thinking, you know, it's the end of the world for me. And I was chatting to him and he looked up at me and he was doing a yatra, and a yatra is a journey of great significance, they call it. And he was finding out who he was and he was finding himself in that. And in a way, I was on a similar journey. So he looked at me and he could see in my face what I was going through. And he gripped my shoulder and he said to me, he said, my friend, I can see that you're suffering. But he said, remember one thing, if you have reason for why you are suffering, it's no longer suffering. I mean, what an amazing statement for someone to say to you in that ancient wisdom. And I knew why I was there and I knew why I was going through this. It was amazing. He gave me back my mojo, my self-belief, and I slowly got back into the journey again. And I ran the 2,000 Ks to the end and got there. But it was these little interventions from amazing people that you meet along the road that give you that inspiration. And you know, from a mental perspective, you can extract yourself and that self-pity out of the equation. Shit, that mind's a strong thing. What this mind can get you through, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah.
David, yeah, you started by saying don't overplan and so on. And I think my brother and I, he's in the middle of the screen, we probably have overplanned, even to the extent of, oh, let's have lunch at this particular spot on the road.
Yes.
We have obviously some kind of timetable we have to be to, and there's certain places where there will be accommodation, other places where we said, right, we want to book or camp for the night, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a little bit of a restrictive thing for us. But your recommendation is try and relax on that a bit. And actually, if there's a bad day, then just take it easy and then try and catch up the next day. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I understand the restriction, and we also have that to places where crew can meet us, or if something happens where we can be extracted. But the most important thing on this journey, I think Fiona had asked me that question, is how do you get fit for a journey? You can't get fit for this. You can get to a level of fitness, but your fitness will come through the journey itself. So my advice is start off, don't try and nail 100 Ks in day one or whatever your target is. Meet 50% of day one's target. And even if you feel you can go further, stop there. So our target is 60 Ks a day. Day one, we do 25 Ks. That's it. Even though I feel I can run further, we stop on 25 Ks on day one. And it's an unwritten rule, we have it. And we rest. Day two, we'll push it up to 70% of where we want to go. We push up 45, 50 Ks. See how we feel. We'll then hold that 70% for another 2 days. And if we're feeling good on day 4, then we go up to our pace we want to hit. And then thereafter, we log those days. And then remember, you're going to have a bad day. We're going to drop again. But you're going to have another day where the whole group is just flying. Could be a good terrain, downhill, and you'll knock back another 20, 30 Ks. So I think feel your way into it. And once you start hitting your target, your planning automatically gets caught up to it. But if you push the plan, you blow the athlete. And that's important to realize. And we've blown ourselves trying to stick to a schedule. And the weird thing is, when we do it this way, every single event, we finish ahead of schedule because we've weaned ourselves into it. And then we've set that finish date. I mean, because we always have a flight out. We know we've got to be, in China, there's no Mr. Nice Guy there, and there's no room for error. Your flight leaves here, your visa expires here, you've got to get the hell out of this country. And so much happened on the way. We got arrested, we got locked up, we got all this sort of stuff. But we then pushed and we caught up to our schedule. And we always have an unwritten rule is when it gets an hour before the sun starts setting, no matter where you are or whatever, stop and find a safe place. Don't move in the dark. You're going to pick up problems. Yeah, we always do it. You can rather start earlier in the morning, but an hour before sunset, we start looking for a campsite. Okay, because we just sleeping. We will crawl and sleep anywhere. And even the cyclists, it might be a day that you can't meet the crew. I mean, we have sometimes 2 weeks that we can't find the crew. We can't get to them because we cross the mountain range, and it's different on a cycle. But always prepare yourself that you might miss the crew, or something could happen to the crew. The crew could get tied up, like happened to us in Cuba. The Pete got picked up by the military, and then now we got no communication, don't know where they are, and that sort of stuff.
David, can I ask a question? I Googled before this meeting, the Great Wall of China. It's 21,000 kilometers long, and you ran that twice.
No, the spine, so there 21,000 kilometers of wall in China, bits and pieces everywhere. But okay. The main Great Wall of China is 4,200 kilometers in length. So I've run it both directions, yeah. Yeah, it's quite a big piece of...
How long did that take you, David?
The first time, 98 days. I averaged 42 a day. And now recently when I did it again, I did it in 78 days, averaging 61 Ks a day. And the rest day on the second one, we just did it every day. We pushed, yeah. But it's, and I was 12 years older, and it's the mind is much stronger when you're older. The body might be a bit weaker, but the combination and the years of knowledge and understanding of your body, you find the older you get, the better you are at an adventure, a tactful. This is a tactful journey with yourself, and it's understanding yourself. I mean, in the evening when I stop, it feels like I drop a hoop over myself, and I sort of scan my whole body, and I've got a pain here. And I tell you, the mind, it sounds like voodoo shit or something, but it's not. I can sort of defer pain. I can say, okay, this leg's buggered, this one's really sore, and I sort of move it, part of it into the left leg as well, and sort of it's amazing what the mind can do when you start trusting the power of your mind and actually working your body through it. I always look at myself as a puppet. I've got the head in the strings and the body just flaps underneath, but this thing just drives it boom, 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 along the way. But we're not invincible, and we've got to listen to our bodies and you know, especially little niggles. And we always, you know, the sort of my body's toolkit is if you can get these crack ice packs, they're lovely. You can buy them from Medac. There's a company called Medac in the Cape. Asterplot pharmaceutical suppliers, you can buy that. So it's a chemical reaction. You crack the pack and it goes frozen, and you can ice yourself with it. It's really good. So if you feel a niggle, don't, you know, athletes always feel, oh, I can run through this niggle, I'll push the, no, stop. Sort the niggle out. Ice it a bit, rest it, stretch it, because the niggle is telling you there's something going wrong here. Just slow down, stop, let's sort it out. So what we do is we do that, and then there's a really good anti-inflammatory that we use, but minuscule bits. I will cut it in half. And if I feel like a minuscule little tear or something, I'll take half anti-inflammatory, eat something, and then in the evening half, or when I go to sleep, I'll take a whole one. And there's one that's made by Cipla. I work with them and for them, called Kefanac. And that's basically what we do is ice and an anti-inflammatory. And you can work your way through anything, and then some of that stretchy plasters and stuff, and those external gels or something like that helps. But a really, really small medical kit like that. And then, you know, you get the odd stomach bug, which you're going to have, you know, you know things are going to go down. So, you know, just something to counter that, because the fluid loss is the worst. If you've got really bad stomach and you keep losing fluid, you want to replenish. So you want to take something that will stop that stomach bug quick. There's also a broad spectrum antibiotic that you can take. You can go to your pharmacist and find out with that. I don't want to prescribe medical stuff for you, but we've learned over the years that's basically what you need. Yeah. And you can get anything, a broad spectrum antibiotic, something for your stomach, and an anti-inflammatory. That's it. And an ice pack or ice if you can find it. And you'll get through most things on that.
David, I'd like to ask a question on behalf of one of our numbers, Jamie. She's actually not able to be on this meeting now, but okay, we are recording it. Now, she is kind of been brought into this thing and hasn't really done a long distance event before. And I know she's going through a lot of concern about her ability to handle the second part of the day and that kind of thing. Now, the rest of us have all done some long distance stuff, and we kind of know who we are and that kind of thing. But she would be one that would really benefit from some words from you on, hey, this is how you're going to be. Can you say something for us?
Yeah, you know, I think the most important thing is get that doubt out of your mind. It's so important, because if you doubt yourself, you're already putting yourself in a vulnerable position. You must go into this event and know that mentally you can do it. And if you've got the mental strength, you will then harness that physical strength out of your body. And but take it slowly. There's no rush. This is a journey. And if you turn it into a race, you will blow. Take it on as a journey. What are you aiming to do a day in distance wise? Well,
we depends on the road and so on, but usually about 130 Ks if it's a pretty good road, and a bit less than that if it's a bad road.
Yeah. So it's a good distance, but it's not a killer. I mean, on a bicycle, 100 it's a good distance. What's that in a cycle? It's a 5-hour cycle every day.
A bit more than that, yeah.
Yeah, because you got gravel roads.
Yeah.
So look here, and what is she doing at the moment, distance-wise?
We've been doing training rides of about 100, 110, that sort of thing. So she's got that under her belt.
And you've obviously done one good session of like a week, the distance every day?
No, not yet. We've just done a 2-day event and we didn't quite get to the plus 100 on both days.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it'll good for your mental strength is try and do maybe a long weekend, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and try and hit close to that distance every day. Because that, you know, you just want to notch those little mental pearls that help you through it. I've done it before. My thing is the third day is always the worst. So if you can do an event before the time, just of 4 days, just get over day 3. It's weird. It's a funny day. Yeah. And I feel you get over day 3 in anything on the right distance, you fine with that. Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Cycling, you need a hard butter. That saddle can eat you.
I'll swap my butt for your feet, David.
Okay. Yeah.
How do you go about nutrition, David? During the day and during the journey?
So I worked a lot with Prof. Noakes and with Wayne Derman and all the guys at Sports Science, and we, the first time we did this, we tried this scientific approach to that, and nothing works. You just eat as much good food as possible. We take no supplements at all. I don't eat any powders or anything. I eat food. And on an event, sure, you're going to have a weight deficiency. You're going to go into a muscle deficit. You're going to start eating up muscle. But it's actually nice because the lighter you get on the event, the more power you have and the stronger you get. So, but my belief is eat good, healthy food along the way. You know, have a good meal in midday, something along the way. And we always sleep for an hour in the day. We will run most of the stuff. We'll have a lunch break, put our legs up, and we pass out. We have a good nap, and then the second half of the day breezes. And supper in the evening is a big meal. We eat until you can't eat anymore. It really works. And so that's what we do there. And my other thing is sleep is so important. You've got to have more than 8 hours sleep a day. You've got to. Because that's when the little men come out and they fix the body. I always say these little guys with hammers and chisels and they fix us up. Sleep is just the biggest healer of everything.
Colin and I shot ahead. We had a couple of snoozes along the way.
No, the snooze is good. Oh, I love those.
Just park off anywhere. Find a good rock.
Yeah, that's yes. Yeah. Amazing how you pass out, eh? And you sleep. Yeah. And what we do at night is our tents. We make sure they're far apart, so there's no snoring or keeping anyone awake.
Oh yeah.
And you know, the odd beer at night's fine, but you know, not too many, because that just dehydrates you, because you're always at a fluid deficit at night. But it's good because it acts as a diuretic, so it gets the kidneys flowing, because you need to do that, because when you get on a fluid deficit, you're actually not passing enough fluid through the kidneys. So a beer in the evening actually is good for a flush, and then just drink a liter of water afterwards. Yeah. So it works well.
I could only manage 2 beers.
Oh.
Then I just didn't feel like having any more after that.
2 liters. Yeah, no, with me, I can have 1 and that's it. I don't want any more. I normally have a small one. And he can have a quart. He enjoys his Frosties. Yeah, but I just have 1 and it just helps you just flush. Yeah, it works well.
David, did you have like off days where you didn't run at all?
No.
You ran every day?
Every single day, yeah.
What was your shortest day?
The shortest day was probably those injury days. But if I take a rest day, it will be a third of what a normal day is. That's my rest day.
Like 2-3 hours of running?
Depends on terrain. We work, you know, on kilometers. So my rest day would be 20-25 Ks.
Okay.
Where a full day would be 60.
Okay. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Like a third of your normal day distance is your rest day.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And also what we did some days, if I was feeling down or Andy was feeling down in the day and we had a fairly big day ahead, is Andy would then leave camp before me. He would walk and just get into it, and I might an hour later only leave, and then slowly trundle and catch up with him. So it just gives him that time on his own just to get through what he's getting through and get onto the road again. It often helps a person that's not feeling good, that they can just wander off and be in their own space for a little while. It does help a bit, but they just go ahead so that they don't feel that they're always holding someone up.
Yeah.
What we did find on those trials we did was we have a Team B concept where the slower guys set off possibly an hour earlier than the others.
No,
And
that's good.
That's great then. And then they don't feel that they're trying to catch up and so on, you know. And then the faster guys, as they get up to those people, if they're gentlemen, they then don't pass them, you know.
No, they shouldn't, because it will demoralize the slower people, especially when you're getting sort of, you know, the first couple of weeks until fitness levels improve in that. And yeah. But yeah, it just depends how you work out the dynamics in the group. Yeah. And
where's your next adventure, David?
So in September, Andrew and I are running from Namibia to the top of Table Mountain. We're gonna do a run there because we can't really cross borders yet. And then the Chinese want us to do the Yangtze River from source to sea, which is 6,900 Ks. So we aim it, but that'll be a 6-month event. That'll be a long one. So that's planned. We wanted to coincide it with the Chinese Winter Olympics. We're not sure if we'll get that right or not. But that's in down the road. Yeah.
Going to carry the torch into the stadium.
Well, they will intercept the Yangtze River, so we thought maybe we could run it over one of the bridges or something. We'll see, because it's amazing the Chinese how they respect what we've done. You know, conquering the Holy Grail of the world twice. So it was quite a thing, especially when I went back to do it a second time. It was amazing on WeChat that it's like WhatsApp. Yeah, it's a sort of more of a social app. And excuse me, we had 300 million Chinese interacting with us on WeChat. 300 million the following. It's unbelievable what happens over there with the excitement about the events we do. And from a corporate social responsibility perspective, we did it to create awareness about chronic kidney disease, because there are 30 million Chinese with chronic kidney disease that actually need to be hospitalized. And it was to get the messaging out to them. And it was unbelievable how successful that messaging was. And we went back to the annual nephrology, I can't even pronounce the word, nephrologist, yeah, conference of all the nephrologists who deal with kidney disease. And at the conference, they just had the doctors there, 10,000 of them at one conference. It shows, I mean, with a population size like that, it just shows the masses. So I went up on the stage and you look out there, and there's 10,000 people in this massive hall. It was unreal, but it was such a lovely thing, and the appreciation for what we did was amazing.
Sure.
Well, we appreciate what you're doing for us.
No, it's a pleasure and it's a privilege to share it. I mean, you know, I love sharing the lessons that I've learned, and I'm still learning. I don't have the answers to most of it. You know, all I can share is from my perspective, and I can't always say that it will work with you, but it can maybe assist you and guide you in how one's mind works on these sort of things and that. But no, for me it's a pleasure, and if there's more I can share, I will. You can give me a shout again. I just got a script when Fiona said a motivational talk, and I was going through all my presentations. Okay, which one should I do? What can I use?
Sorry.
No, it's fine. That's why I phoned you and I said, please, I need a number. I need to speak to you. Yeah.
David?
I think an interaction like this works well. And, you know, there's so many questions. And if you feel you want to chat again, with pleasure. I mean, there might be more stuff that comes up. But,
well, thanks, David. But there's one thing we would like to do is Eric, who's the creator of this whole idea, and he's done several of these. He's very good at sending out a blog, and it's very amusing and very interesting. And if you don't mind, we'd like to put you onto that list so you can get a WhatsApp.
I'd love to.
And it tells us about the progress of what we're doing and getting ready and so on.
Yeah.
You might find that quite interesting.
No, the blogging is amazing. It works well. I also constantly blog when I'm on a journey, and I agree with what you're saying. And what Eric's doing is it's got to have a bit of humor. You have serious ones and you have humorous ones, and they keep the energy going with the people who are following you and family and friends at home and that.
Yeah.
Because you have, I mean, what's your total contingent of this whole crew and cyclists?
It'll be 16 people altogether.
Wow, it's a big group. Yeah, there are going to be dynamics.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, you know, you were saying earlier, well, you must watch this guy. He explodes and then he thinks and does that. I mean, you've got 16 variations of that now. So
yeah.
that'll take some doing. But Eric in particular is very good at managing people in that circumstance.
Yeah, and there needs a person who, when they step in and they say, whoa, okay, to here no further, you know. I've even stepped in where I've made crew pull matches for who's going home. You know, you're destroying this. It's bigger than you. It's not about you, it's about this journey. Right. You two are constantly causing trouble, draw a match, because we have to diffuse this. Who's going home? And it sometimes comes to that.
Yeah.
And often the match draw, both people back off because no one wants to draw their match. So, okay, right, that's your last chance. And I'm serious. Next time, the person who draws a short match, it's home with you. It's not about you, you know?
Yeah.
So you have it. I mean, the first run in China, I had, it was a big crew, and there were two Austrians who started a fight with the two Chinese. It got so bad that the one Chinese guy, the Austrian guy, he was driving the Chinese guy. He had him around the neck. They were going down a mountain pass. They were fighting in this vehicle. They nearly rolled the vehicle. So I phoned up the guy who got us the Chinese crew, and I sent, we stopped the run for 2 days. I sent them all back to Beijing for him to sort them out. And then they came back and we carried on with the journey. It got...
That's funny.
We were reliant on them because they were our interpreters. They were our drivers, because a Westerner can't drive in China. So it's your cook, your interpreter, and your driver who have now, it's blown beyond repair, that the Austrians actually tried to strangle the oak while he was driving. It got that bad. So I've been through that as well. I mean, Ramvi, our driver, he was from Delhi. He got arrested in Pune. So it's our only guy. There were 3 of us, because my crew now was, in all the adventures now, we only have 1 crew member that drives, he does everything, camp, blah, blah, blah. So the only one oak gets arrested in Pune for trying to, it was New Year's Eve, and he tried to bullshit them that he was a police officer from Delhi. So the police in Pune arrested him. We had to bail him out because, you know, he got a bit drunk, got in a roadblock, and told them he was a policeman. And so they arrested him.
Oh, gosh. At the time, it couldn't have been too funny, eh?
No, we had other times where we came down this mountain. The next minute, there were police on scooters, an escort. And they said, get on the scooter. I said, no, if we get on the scooter, the event's over. I have to run. So we ran with these scooters. It was about 10 Ks to this like intersection where there were these buildings, and we arrived there. He has military jeeps. He has our crew sort of in a chair at gunpoint being held up there. So we had been accused of gun running, that we'd come through from Afghanistan and we were running guns into India. So the poor crew were arrested. We'd been now locked up. They phoned the military head in Mumbai. They then took us off to some police. You know, and now you got to try and get your way out of this and convince them that you're not gun running and, you know, oh, geez, the situations you're getting.
These guys are quite staunch there, eh?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Cuba, we got arrested and we got locked up twice. And then the Central Intelligence guys arrested us. They locked us up for 2 nights. Then they drove us 90 kilometers to a town called Holgan to the Central Intelligence Bureau, where we were then met this military general where he took us one by one and he said to us, we're going to interrogate you. And if any of the interrogation comes out with a different answer, we're locking you up for 18 months. You know, what are you doing like this thing in Cuba? You came as a tourist. Now you got this whole blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I went up first and he interrogated me. I had a guy standing with an AK at the door, another guy at the window, and he had a pistol on his desk and he's interrogating us. So he does my whole interrogation after an hour and he shoves me the paper, says, sign it. I look at it, it's written in Spanish. I said to him, I'm not going to sign this. I don't know what you wrote. He says, listen here, if you don't sign this, I'm going to lock you up for 18 months and then I'm going to deport you. If you do sign it and your friends' things are wrong, I'm going to lock you up anyway. But if you do sign it and I'm happy with everyone, I will let you carry on running across my country. So I came down the stairs. I said to Andrew in Afrikaans, who was on his way up next, I said, Andy, fucking praat net die waarheid en teken die daar op papier. And eventually he got all 3 of us together and he said, he was sitting with our passports, dunk, dunk, dunk on the table. He said, right, I'm happy with this, but every night at 6 o'clock, you have to phone in, report where you are, and give us the contact details of the people that you're staying near so we can monitor. And on we went across Cuba.
Was that for like, was that like thinking you were cousins of Pablo or whatever?
I don't know what they thought, but we weren't allowed to camp anymore. We had to stay in a military accredited little house and all kinds of stuff like that.
It's quite crazy there.
Yeah. We had fun in Madagascar where they were in civil war in 2010, and the guy with the surname about that long, he was in exile in South Africa. So they arrested me in the south, and they asked me, where's my passport? I said, no, I don't have it. The crew's got it. So he says, where's the crew? I said, I don't know. So he said, well, how did you get here? I said, no, I came by kayak. So he thought I was a recce from South Africa that paddled over to try and do a military coup sent by the, you know, because I paddled across. So then they got this huge baobab tree, okay? They had this rock in front of it. And there was a guy in there that'd been in there for 2 days waiting for the guys to come fetch him. So they move this rock away, and then they get this Jeep and they reverse and they push the rock back against the tree. So I'm sitting in this tree jail with this other oak who'd been there for 2 days waiting for the military to come down. And oh, geez, man, that was the worst hole I've ever been in. Yeah, it wasn't fun. Got let out of it.
Crazy adventures, eh?
Yeah, I've had some fun at the end of a barrel. Yeah,
how do you choose your crew?
I now use people I've used before, and it's always a multi-disciplined person. Normally the crew must be able to take photographs, can edit a bit of stuff, you know, can cook, is an adventure type person. There's no issues at home that are going to keep bugging him. That, you know, you look at various things, and I go through quite a intense interview process with them of questioning and finding out, and then I try and spend a bit of time with them before I leave as well. You know, maybe go away for a weekend, get an evening that you oil him well with a bit of wine. I learned that from the Chinese, because the true person always comes out there. Yeah, you try and understand the person a lot, and most importantly, he has to be like-minded from why you're doing what you're doing, and those aspects. Yeah.
Got to be someone that's got time on their hands, and like sort of also. Yeah.
Yeah. There can't be pressure. Otherwise, pressure manifests during the event and it comes out.
Yeah. You almost got to be like content and your life is set almost type of thing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So
David, why do you do what you do, David? Is it multiple objectives?
No, everything that I do is to create awareness and raise funds for Operation Smile to put children with clefts through cleft surgery. So that's the bigger purpose, aim, why I do it. And from a selfish perspective, I just love wandering. I absolutely am at my best and in my element, being out there and challenging and pushing myself to the limit. I just love it. Absolutely. You know, that's my personal thing I get out of it. And the bigger picture is, so I've raised 10 million for the kids and put 3,000 children through surgery through these events. I've met the children. I've been through surgery with them. I sit in theater. I've been through, you know, it's just such an amazing thing to be part of with Operation Smile. But subsequent to that, Cipla used to be my sponsor. I now run their foundation. And other than what we've raised for Operation Smile, I've now raised another 60 million, and we put that all into medical infrastructure in informal settlements across this country. It's an amazing story. So we now treat over 90,000 patients on chronic medication every month. We've got, we set nurses up in their own medical businesses. We call them entrepreneurs. We supply infrastructure for that. I've designed, I do a lot of design in medical infrastructure and that. And I've designed vaccination stations where you can effectively and efficiently vaccinate people in mass without bottlenecks. So the prototype was being tested for 2 months now, and we're now into production. And we've been pledged about between 12 and 20 million to roll out this infrastructure from big donors. So, you know, we're really going to help in the country, and we want to push it across the borders as well. So it's amazing what these adventures, where they started and what they've built into. It's been an amazing journey. It really has. You know, I look back and I can't believe it. I sometimes, you know, even when I look at footage of my journeys, I sometimes look at the footage that I'm sharing. I think, geez, did I do that? Was I there? You sometimes don't believe yourself. You know. It's been
David, just another thing. Have you got the guys that do the 947 and all that Ride for a Purpose on board as well?
So no, I haven't. We normally work within the networks of corporate South Africa. What's been fortunate is through the journeys I've got onto the global speaking circuit, and it gives me access into the boardroom of many top corporates where I can then say to them, look here, come and join up with us, use some of your CSI spend, and look what we can do with it. Because everything we do is sustainable. We don't do handouts. Everything we do has to be a sustainable business model. From the vac station to the nursing unit to the creches I do, whatever we do, it has to be a sustainable and empowering model. So what I say to big corporates is invest your CSI spend and we'll turn it into a sustainable business model. And so they really then see the benefit of joining with us. So that's the main avenue we take from partners. And then, of course, the broader public, individuals, you know, get involved. They'll sponsor a child. They'll donate money to the foundation. So that's how we run it.
Yeah, I'm on the round table in Zim here, and we're also looking at doing a lot of sustainable projects, as it just makes sense at the end of the day to get something that runs itself as well.
So I work with the roundtable as well, quite a bit. I'm actually doing a project in Guguletu now, where I'm building a creche with roundtable, and then they're doing a water linkage project for the women in the informal settlement. So I work with them, and I've worked with the roundtable in Claremont as well. And then when I ran the coastline of South Africa, that 3,300K run, I did it with the tablers. So we stayed away. But geez, man, you know, we designated one crew member whenever we got to a table clubhouse, whatever they are. that crew member, his job was to party with the tablers. Crazy.
That's one thing they can't do properly, eh?
No, they are. Jeez, it is. Yeah, and just journey, because of the tablers, we raised 2 million on that one. It was amazing.
Yeah. And that's just various South African tables along the way, eh?
Correct, all along the coast. Yeah.
If you ever appear, we must get you over for a meeting.
Yeah, I actually, where are you based? In
Harare.
In Harare. There's a guy who's got a massive furniture business up there, just outside Harare. He does all furniture. I met him in December. I'm trying to think of his name.
Wilson.
Teak Furniture.
Excuse me?
Teak Furniture.
Yeah, upmarket furniture. There's a massive factory there, and it's like a family business. I think
Jim Wilson, his name would have been.
Crumbs, eh? When I remember, I'll message Fiona and yeah.
Yeah,
he's
David, thank you. We've really appreciated your time, and I think we've taken up a lot of it. So, guys, is there anything else we'd like to ask David, and then maybe we can set up another meeting if we wish, if David is agreeable, and we have some more questions later on.
No, great chatting, guys and ladies. It's a fantastic meeting, and with pleasure, if you want to have a chat again, you can just hook up with me with pleasure.
Thanks so much, David.
I'll roll out some funny videos just to share with what goes on.
Thank you. Thanks, David. Really appreciate your help.
David.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Bye.
David, thanks.
Bye.
Ciao.